This is the podcast where people who have defied expectations and embraced their unique paths to success tell their stories. If you care about traditional old-fashioned values and want to achieve modern success, you come to the right place. Welcome to the Unconventional Podcast, where traditional is unconventional. Here's your host, Eric Bonilla.
All right, man. What's happening? How you doing, man?
Good, brother. Good, brother. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, glad you can make it. Awesome having you here. I know you're busy, man. So it's just, hey, glad to have you here.
Glad to be here, buddy. Glad to be here. And looking forward to it.
Awesome. Hey, I'm gonna have an intro for you. Give everyone a small intro. So starting off, this is Art Gomez. It's been, man, how long have you been married, Art? Over 25 years? Over 20 years?
25 years. 25 years.
Awesome. Congrats. Over 25 years, 4 kids, 1 son-in-law, daughter-in-law, 2 grandchildren. Bred bought by the child of God. So.
Yes, brother. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, man. So awesome. So, hey, so tell me, let's talk about so why are you in the car right now? What's going on right now? What's going on over there?
Yeah, so we're over here out from Chino, California. And right now there's a board meeting going on, and they're going to talk about a no deception policy.
Okay.
Just a little bit of information.
Yeah.
Chino right now is being attacked by Newsom, Bonta, the after Sacramento.
Yep.
You know, they're in the business of keeping secrets from parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Our school board, they're standing firm. They're standing for rights. They're standing for values, and they're pushing back. They're pushing back. That, you know what, parents have a right to know what their kids are doing.
It's just unbelievable that a school board and these people are trying to do stuff behind parents' back, like they have more power over the kid than the parent.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. You know, this is the crazy thing is, they want to keep secrets when it comes to them wanting to transition to another gender, which is very possible. But yeah, they will tell you if they're truant or if they get guilty. There's no privacy there. There's only privacy if you want to mutilate yourself. It's absolutely no there.
Yeah. Oh my God. That is so crazy. Just saying that is just like, wow. So what are some of the things specifically? Is there anything like they want to do? So they're looking to be able to make decisions for the kids without parents' consent? Is that like the main thing? Is there anything else that they're trying to do?
Yeah. So the main thing, another thing they're starting to do right now is they're getting kids to canvass for candidates on their side.
Are they really?
Yes, they're training kids to go out and canvass. I mean, could you imagine if we did that to our side? We'd be the biggest thing. Everything that they call us, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to teach these kids are extremists. We're extremists, right? Yeah, and it's crazy. You know what the craziest part though, brother, is that you got parents on board with this stuff.
Wow. Really?
I heard a father, this was maybe 6-7 months ago, get up in the school board and say he's a father of 3. And as a parent, we don't have rights over our kids.
He said he was relinquishing rights basically to his kids, right?
Let me tell you, brother, I looked at him. I wanted to jump up and tell him you're a coward, and I would hate for you to be my father.
Oh man! And this guy was from Chino, the Chino area.
Yeah, because he's part of the school district. So the Chino school district consists of part of Ontario, South Ontario, Chino, and Chino Hills.
Wow. So Man, so there's been a lot of pushback here. I mean, I've been hearing like, I hear Pastor Jack Hibbs has talked about it. I've heard him talk about it before about getting involved, and so the main thing about having people show up is what are they trying to do by having people show up? Just kind of what's going on with that?
So you have people that talk, and I think the main thing is just to show the community that there are people that support our board.
Okay.
A lot of the opposition shows up, and when they show up, they're not very nice. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
they're pretty bashful. Especially Tony Shaw, they bash her, call her uneducated, call her a clown. This is a circus. They're very angry people, brother.
Oh my God.
We urge people to show up. You don't have to talk. Just show up and show that you support the board. I chose not to talk today. I'm waiting for the next one they're going to be talking about pornographic books that are in the school that they want to remove. So,
Okay.
it is, it's what, I grew up in Chino all my life. Okay. I'm a lifelong Chino resident. We'll get back into this part of the story, but of my life, but I wasn't on the good side, of things. But
Great.
I never would imagine our little small community, this would be an issue. That it would be an issue to remove a book that's pretty much rated X. And if that book were to become a movie, it would be rated X, rated R, pushing it, but definitely rated X. And now one kid in this district would be able to watch that movie, but yet they want those books to stay in the library.
Wow.
So we've lost all common sense.
It doesn't make it, they're trying to sexualize. It's for a bigger agenda, it's what they're trying to do with the kids, starting at, young kids at the lower levels, and then essentially, they make changes as they go to high school. Oh.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so it starts with the young kids with the books, then,
Yeah, well, I was, out canvassing today, and just talking to an older gentleman, and you know what? The family is the foundation of our country, right? The family is the foundation of society. And when you begin to break that apart, which that's what they're doing, right? By going
after
children, right? Mm-hmm. Putting kids against the parents. You can't trust your parents. You can't do this. You begin to destroy the family. Well, then you destroy the family, you destroy the society, as we can see with the lawlessness and everything else that's going on. The smash and grabs and all that, the killing of the cops. Again, go after the family, you will destroy a society.
Right, because then you become dependent on the government, right? Because now you don't have your family, so now who else do you depend on? You depend on the government now, and for what they say instead of keeping the family together. So that's the bigger picture. So it's mostly pornographic books, decision making. Is there anything else that they're trying to implement?
Those are the big things. We had a parental rights notification. That's what started everything, where they made a policy that any teacher or staff member had 72 hours to let the parent know if the kid wanted to be a different pronoun, or if it was a boy wanted to use a girl's restroom, or if they wanted a sex change. Could you imagine that the state is suing our district over that?
Oh my God. So who's the boy actually going against? Like, who shows up? Like, is there like the state? Like, who shows up when they're bouncing?
Yeah, you got the teachers union. That
okay.
The driving force of it. Of course, you got people from the LGBTQ community, which is crazy because a lot of them have no kids. They have,
Mm,
and again, you don't have to have kids in the district to be part of the district if you're a community member.
yeah.
But like they just have no kids. They just there's there's only one agenda that they have, and that's to get these kids and to twist their minds.
Ah, man. Wow. And how often do these things happen? Like, so has there's pornographic books in those curriculum now, or they're trying to get it in? Do they?
Yes, if I'm correct, I think there's 12 schools that have some form of pornographic books. Yes.
And when we say pornographic,
Tell you, brother, yeah, I seen a paragraph yesterday from one of those books, and it would make a grown man blush.
wow. So
Yeah.
so then like a sex education type of book where it's kind of like, you know, risque kind of pornographic. It's actual pornographic. So what's the class or what's the curriculum behind showing them the book? Is it like a part of a class or something like that?
No, these are just books that are in the library.
Oh, okay. So they're keeping. Oh my God. Okay. All right. So they're putting these books. Okay.
Yeah, and you know what? The opposition would say, "Oh, then we just want to ban books." And it's not about banning books; it's about having age-appropriate material.
That makes. And what ages are we talking? Like kindergarten through eighth, or is this high school age kids? Or
I think most of it is from junior high to high school.
okay. Now, is there any like of those like LGBT, those shows going on, like the I don't know, those transgender, the was it the those shows type of dancing? What are those things called? You remember when they were doing the strip team? Not the you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
I'm not.
no, they stopped it. But one thing that has happened is one of our high schools. There's 4 high schools in the district. One of the high schools actually have a it's called a GSA, Gay Something Association, and they had a popular transgender make a video telling them to stand their ground, don't back down, fight for your truth, kind of nonsense.
Wow, man. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
It's you know what, brother, really honestly, it's time for people to stand, and it's. Let me tell you, I guess we could go back into this part of my story. I never was involved with politics. I never got involved with school boards. I grew up I grew up a gangbanger. Okay, so
Yeah,
my life up till I was 25 years old was gangbanging. That's what I knew. And that's with already having 3 kids. You know,
yeah.
running amok. Okay, and so this last year, I started voting in 2016, so I started paying a little bit more attention. But from 2020 when COVID started, I started attending school board meetings. Because they wanted to keep our kids outside if they didn't want to be masked, right? They wanted to keep them muzzled after all the restrictions were lifted, right? So I
Yeah.
started attending the school boards. And from those school boards, I started getting involved with candidates. And I said, you know what? Something has to happen here. Something has to change, right?
Yeah.
The very first time I went to go canvass for somebody, there was 11 people. And out of those 11 people, one was a candidate, 8 were females, 2 males.
Mm. Yeah. So
Dagger in my heart, brother. That put a conviction on me like, where are the men?
yeah.
We are the leaders. We are the protectors. We are the ones that are lead by example. We're to show our families, the right thing to do. And
Absolutely.
unfortunately, we'd rather watch a Saturday college game or a Sunday football game, right? Because God forbid if we miss a game.
It's true. It's true, man. Wow. So what? So what's the big? So it's the mask. It's the COVID that got you involved.
Yeah, that's really where it got me paying a lot more attention.
Mm-hmm. Um. So and then that from that point, it was just about hey, they're trying to force the masks on, and you started going to the school board meetings, and then that's how. And then from that point, you got involved with candidates and people, guys running for office.
Yeah, well, that first year or two, actually, I was doing a lot of with social media, posting on social media,
Okay.
speaking against it. Obviously an avid Trump supporter at that.
Yeah.
Very vocal. So I started getting real vocal on social media. It wasn't until last year, 2023, where okay, it's time to start putting what you're saying into action.
Yeah. There you go. Man, it sounds like you're a career. I mean, when I hear you talk on social media, it sounds like you're a career politician, man. It sounds like you've been doing this forever, man. I mean,
Oh no. Well, I tell people all the time, I hate politics, but because I hate it is why I do it though, because they've hijacked so much, man. They've robbed so much of the true American way. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say when I said that career politician, I meant that in the best way because you communicate. You know what I mean? You communicate. I didn't mean like a, but you communicate in a good, really well. So, I was like, man.
Yeah, no,
So
I got a lot. I got a lot of people that been telling me lately, like, you should run for office. And right now, I feel that I'm called to help candidates. To as much as I could. Put a few hours a week into helping them, whether it's through social media, whether it's door knocking, whether it's going to pass out yard signs. Right now, that's where I feel I'm called. I've taught children's ministry for 12 years. I went into the prison for about 7 years.
oh wow.
God sometimes just, I love those things, but sometimes God just moves you to other things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's I wanted to move back now to the start of like, we've talked about it just a little bit, but like your story.
Okay, yeah. So I grew up in Chino, like I told you.
Yeah.
About at the age of 13, I started running with the neighborhood, the local street gang.
Yeah.
And there was one individual that used to walk by my house all the time. He used to have a trench coat, a derby. And I
Yeah.
used to look at him, I go, man, he's cool. I want to be like him, right?
Yeah.
Gangster. And you know what? And that I did. I became a gangbanger. At 15 years old, I got busted for my first time. I did a year and a half in a juvenile camp.
Yeah.
Got out at the age of, I think I was almost about 16 and a half. Met my wife. Actually, I knew my wife. I've known my wife since junior high.
Wow, that's awesome.
Reconnected with her. And unfortunately, I mean, not unfortunately that she got pregnant, but she got pregnant. And to be honest, it didn't stop me from what I was doing. I continued
Yeah.
being a knucklehead. So I had my first daughter a month before I was 18, a month before she was 17.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had our second son. I was 19. And then my third child at 23. Then granted, I was still running amok through all that time.
Yeah.
And when I was 25, my wife began going to church.
Okay.
And unfortunately, when she would go to church, I would go hang out with the fellas and do my thing.
Yeah.
And one day she invited me to. They were having something at the church for Halloween, to keep the kids off the street.
Yeah.
Because why don't you come with us? I go, I can do that. So I just went just to please her and
Yeah.
go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I ended up running into one of my homeboys, my older, he's about 5 years older than me. And it was crazy because this guy was the kind of guy that was so much on dope. When you would see him, you would want to
Yeah.
avoid him because it was just,
It's so messed up. Yeah.
you would avoid him. And so I see him and he comes up to me and he starts talking to me. And I'm looking at him, his name was Bam. We call him Bam Bam. And I'm like, I'm tripped out on this guy. Like, what the
Yeah.
world is not the same dude, right?
He's sober, huh?
Sober, he's talking about the Lord, right? And at that point, I kind of thought, like, man, you know what? If God could change this guy, you know what? Surely,
Man.
right?
Yeah.
And I didn't get saved right then. To back up a little bit, I did grow up in and out of church all my life, but it was never steady. So I never took church serious because unfortunately in home it was never taken serious, right?
Yeah.
So I knew all the old hymns and the old, this little light of mine and
Yeah.
those sounds.
Yeah.
I knew all that. But again, I didn't have a relationship with Christ. So
Mhm.
from that day I started going to church. And my wife, it was Thanksgiving week. 3 weeks after Halloween, 3 weeks, it was Thanksgiving week, and she was gonna she was already scheduled to go to visit her mom in Idaho.
Mhm.
And that week, but even my own family was like, okay, our son, he's not gonna go to church because she's gone. That was
Yeah.
I got saved.
Wow.
I got saved, brother.
That's awesome, man.
It was Thanksgiving week, 2002.
Wow.
Yeah,
So you did that so she was gone. She went to Idaho. When you got saved?
yeah. She went to Idaho, but yeah, and I got saved. Yes, sir. Yep.
That's that's awesome. Were at a church around there? Were they at a church or?
Uh, yeah, it was well, I think small compared to Jack's church. But
Yeah.
100 members of Pentecostal church, so small Pentecostal church. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
So then,
And in 22 years, November will be 22 years.
wow. So from there, like how did you like? I mean, obviously, your life changes from there. Like how did day to day? I mean, like were you still kind of like on the other side doing, one foot in, one foot out of gang banging still a little bit, or like how did that go?
You know what? God radically changed me. I never smoked another joint. I never did another drug. I never drank alcohol. He completely just took it all away. That day when I got up from that altar and I stood up, never had another urge, brother.
Wow, that's awesome. So from there, did you get involved like with the church at all or anything like that at that point?
Yeah, so a year later, we started teaching fifth grade. Me and my wife put together, we started teaching the fifth grade, teaching Bible study. Like I said, we did that for probably about 14 years.
Wow.
We became overseers on Wednesday night. I ushered. I went into the prisons, which that was my heart. I loved going into the prisons because of my background. So
Yeah.
going to the prisons and preach the gospel, brother. I mean, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
God got a hold of me. God got a hold of me, and he didn't work, brother. And one thing I share this all the time. Like I never wanted to be a half stepper in anything I did. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like when I was out there
Mhm.
gang banging, I did it to the fullest.
That was 100%. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not glorifying it
Yeah.
at all. But I was just that kind of person. That's my mentality, right? So I remember when God saved me, I had that same mentality, so like I don't want to be a half stepper Christian. I've seen, especially a lot of like growing up in the neighborhood, people go to prison They say they serve God. They come out. They start
Mm-hmm.
the same thing, running amok. They're back in prison, right?
Yeah.
And it gives Christianity a bad rap. You know, it brings a reproach on the name of Jesus. You know, and so I've always had that mentality that when I do something, I'm gonna do it. You know, so like when God got a hold of me and He saved me and I surrendered my life, I always wanted to do it to the fullest. You know, not that you can earn it. You can't work
Right.
for your salvation, right? I know that.
Right.
It's
Yep.
by faith through Christ alone, right? But there takes a participation on our part too, though.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and yeah. So I trained 2 years later by the grace of God. I'm still walking with God.
Wow. How is it working in the prisons? I mean, did you have any experiences in there that that are memorable, that you're like, guys making changes or anything happen?
Well, I mean, for me, especially, coming from that lifestyle, just seeing some of my homeboys, coming to the services I got to preach at.
Oh, you saw some guys you knew in there.
Oh yeah. And I was able to preach while they're in there. I mean, witness people that come out from a life sentence, completely dedicated their life to the Lord, and I know people that became pastors.
Wow.
So, though the prisons, the thing about the prison is those guys know if you're real or not.
Yeah.
They know if you're playing around. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yep.
that's like
You have to know.
you have
You still to survive in there, yeah. Like you have to know things like that.
it's part of the survival, brother. And so,
Mm-hmm.
I love going, brother. Let me tell you, I went for about 8 years, and there was never a day I didn't go that I was not nervous, or my stomach would be like in a knot, right?
Yeah.
And I've always was taught that's a good thing, because then it's not you doing it, right? Because when you start feeling at ease doing it, it becomes you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You feel nervous, that's when God comes in and He takes control, and He
Yeah.
speaks in and through you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I went from that, and so I was at that church for 16 years. Then the Lord called me over to Jack Hibbs Church, and I've been there for 5 years now.
Oh, okay. Okay. So are you involved over there? Are you still doing anything as far as over there at the Calvary?
I usher. I'm an usher there. I do usher. Yes, I do usher.
Hey, yeah, go ahead.
No, but I like to say what I do as far as like going door knocking for candidates, going and doing things like that. I personally, I take this as a ministry for me. I don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I do it unto the glory of God. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
that my main focus is always to do it in a biblical way and unto the glory of God. So I look at what I do as a ministry.
Yeah. How important do you think it is for men to get involved? I mean, because this is how, like, these, like, leftist, liberal type policies, agendas come into fruition, is because, I mean, they've done a great job of like getting involved in the schools, right? And so then they get involved in schools, they start getting at kids when they're young, and then in high school, and then, in colleges, they're just an indoctrination, facilities. So like, and then once they start, they go from the ground up, and then once they get out of college and they start graduating, all these people with these type of, ideologies, and then they go on to professions, and then they change society.
Yes.
That's what they do. They, because if you really want to get at society, you start with the youth, right? You start at the ground level and you start changing them, but they think like, what's going on now? like these pornographic books, and then, so, like, how would you start? Like if someone's concerned, I mean, would it just be standing up and, just going to school board meetings, or like, what would be the best way? What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's all it is. Go, just sit there, listen maybe the first couple of times, right?
Yeah.
See what's going on. But at some point, you have to stand, you have to speak. If you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. And what I mean by that is, if your kids don't see you doing it, but yet they see the other side doing it, the chances are they're going to be drawn to that other side.
Mm-hmm.
So it's best that we instill our values and show them that we're willing to stand. We're willing to stand for them, right? By going to a school board meeting on a Thursday night when you have to wake up at 2:30, 3 in the morning, right?
Yeah.
So it shows them that, you know what? Dad really cares, right? And not only that, if you don't stand for something, they're never going to stand for something.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
That's just the truth of it, right?
Yep.
They may not understand it now. They may not understand it when they're younger. But as they get older, they will understand it. I'll give you a prime example. My three oldest kids were raised in church, okay? My oldest, from when she was 7 years old, and my youngest, she was born in church, okay?
Yeah.
I have four kids. The three oldest ones, I'm gonna go too far as to say that I don't think they were ever saved. They were just there because the parents made them. They went and helped the children's ministry and helped at camps, right?
Yeah.
Because, mom and dad said, you're going, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
when they got old enough, all three of them walked away from the Lord.
Okay.
Right? And in my house, the rule is, it doesn't matter how old you are, you go to church. That's the way it is, right?
Yeah.
They were raised at my last church. We would go to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, and then prayer on Friday nights, right?
Okay.
And they never had. It was not an option for them to stay home.
Okay.
They went to church.
There you go.
Church, right? That's what we do. Joshua says, right? As for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord.
Yeah.
Right? That's not a suggestion. That's not if you agree with it. That is what the Word of God says. So they didn't understand it at that time. We're just kind of forced it on them, right? They would think. But fast forward today, all three older of them are in church serving God. All three of them got baptized from 2020 till now. My two oldest, both their spouses were baptized.
Man.
We laid a foundation.
Yes.
Right? And they had something to fall back on. If we never laid that foundation, not only did we lay it though, we lived it. We didn't tell them to go to church while we were at home. We showed them we go to church, right? Well, it's the same thing in the school boards. It's the same thing in when you're speaking against policies. It's very important that you have conversations at home that they hear your viewpoints. It's very important. Again, not to be political, but you got to talk about policies, and you got to talk about what's right, what's wrong. You got to talk about how we approach the LGBTQ. I call it the cult, right?
Yeah.
They have to know. That way, it's instilled into them. Other than that, it's going to be instilled into them by the other side.
By the other side. Because believe me, they have enough people that are going after kids, right? Like, they've gotten involved. That's plain and simple. They've done it. The left has done a great job of getting involved.
Oh, they do it. I always tell people, that they're very, how can I say this? They're unified. They're crazy, but they're unified crazy.
Yeah.
Where our side, we're terrible. We're absolutely terrible when it comes to doing things like this. Like we have a big turnout today, and the only reason why is because tonight we had a special service at church where the candidates came and they spoke, gave them 5 minutes to speak about a little bit about themselves, and challenged the church to come to the school board meeting. Other than that, if we would have been outnumbered, I've been to school board meetings, brother, where there'll be 100 of them and like 10 or 15 of us.
It's so crazy. I mean, it's so crazy they get turnouts like that. I guess, and this side, the conservative side just laid back, man.
Oh, we're apathetic. And that's why, that's why we're in the condition we're in. That's why our world is in the condition it's in, right? Because especially Christian conservatives have lost their boldness. They have lost their confidence in God. Because we do this in the name of Christ, right? By the power of
Yes.
We have a greater strength in us than that other side does, but we don't tap into it for some reason.
Yeah, that's strange. That's a good way to look at it, yeah.
And honestly, I blame men. I do. I blame Christian men. Again, we should lead by example. And again, I'm not saying this to condemn nobody because I was very guilty of it myself, right?
Yeah.
Thank be to God, He woke me up, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? And there's a balance. You have to keep a balance. You gotta work. You gotta have a home life. You gotta spend time with the family. But it could be done. All of it can be done. You can work. You could help a candidate, and you could spend time with your wife. You can spend time with your family. It's doable. It may be sacrificial.
Yeah.
You may sacrifice some sleep, right? You may sacrifice something that you want to do, that your own pleasure. Now, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with pleasure. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But it's worth the sacrifice to help good people that hold to your values get.
Yes.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
So it's what would you? Is there anything else that kind of besides the school board? Is there anything else that you get involved in that you feel strongly about?
Yeah. So right now, I'm helping Nick Wilson. He's running for state assembly.
Okay.
So I help him. I go door to door for him, go pass out yard signs. And I'm pretty aggressive. I was telling somebody, we need to be aggressive because the other side's aggressive. And when I do, brother, I'll drive through the neighborhood on the way home from work of the city he represents.
Yeah.
I'll look, and if they have a yard sign of somebody that's conservative, I'll go knock on that door. I'll stop, I'll get a knock on that door, and I'll tell them, hey, you know what? I see you have a good candidate you're supporting. They're solid. Thank you for supporting them. And it might be somebody I house. And I say, well, do you know who this is? And unfortunately, most people only know who the president who's running for presidency. They have no idea who the state assembly is. So it gives you an opportunity. Well, this is your state assembly. This is what they stand for. Well, here's Nick Wilson. He's a retired cop, right? He goes to school board meetings, speaks up for parental rights. You get us, not so much selling him because that's who he is. And I've got so many people to put up yard signs, brother, just by simply randomly stopping and knocking at doors.
Crazy things happen, huh? When you go out there, huh?
Gotta do it.
That's it.
What's the worst they can tell you? No.
That's it. That's it. What are some of the? So what are the main issues that you think is coming up? What are the biggest things that you think that's coming up that we should be, looking out for? Some of the most important issues.
To me, the biggest issue that I stand upon is abortion. That is God. We will never be a blessed nation as long as children are being killed. It's murder. It's image bearers of God. So to me, that is the number one issue. Okay. Now, with that being said, you know, we have two candidates that neither one of them are pro-life, truly pro-life. Okay.
Yep.
Because when you believe for any reason it's okay to kill a baby for any reason,
Right.
at that point, you're not pro-life anymore. Because a true pro-life person believes from the moment of conception. The moment that baby's conceived, they're a human being and they're valued, right?
Yes.
So we know that both our candidates believe up to certain exceptions, right? We know Trump believes with the incest and murder, right?
Right.
Okay, with that being said, though, we know the other side is extreme up to birth.
Yeah.
So now we look at that. But then we have to look at other policies, right? We have to look at the border. We have to look at the mutilization of kids, right?
Yeah.
The left is all about allowing kids to be mutilated. Whereas we see Trump just recently said, you know, he would charge people for that, right? It'd be a crime. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
We see the left that wants an open border, while we see where Trump wants to close the border, right?
Yeah.
Why we say we vote, we're not voting, we're voting for the one that holds closest to our values. Because neither one of them hold 100% to our values.
Yeah.
And what I try to tell people is, do I agree with Trump's stance on abortion? Absolutely not. But I'm pro-life, not just for the baby in the womb. I'm pro-life for the innocent kid, for the 325,000 missing children.
Yes.
Their lives matter as much as the baby in the womb, right? I'm pro-life when it comes to illegal immigrants coming over here and raping 12-year-old girls for 2 hours and leaving them dead under a bridge, or raping them and murdering a mother of 5. So when I say I'm pro-life, that means that's the baby in the womb. I'm about life in all realities, right?
Right.
And I think people need to get away from their feelings, get away from their emotions, put their opinions aside, and look at the reality.
Yeah. Yeah. And just forget, it's almost like they have that derangement, with, you know what I'm talking about with Trump,
Oh,
They just can't get past,
the problem though is you got some people in the church that will not vote because neither one of them are 100% pro-life as far as the baby in the womb.
really.
When I try to tell them, I go, so would you be able to go tell that 12-year-old little girl that was raped and murdered, go tell her parents that you're not going to vote, right, for somebody that would protect her in the long run, that would have protected her because of your difference of opinion on abortion. Again, I'm not saying that we don't call them out. I'm a believer that we hold ourselves accountable. I think on the conservative side, especially on the MAGA side, some people refuse to call him out on anything. I think we should call him out. I think we should hold our side more accountable, actually.
Yeah.
Right? Again, I think he should know that as Christians, we don't appreciate his view on abortion. He should.
Right.
It doesn't mean we're not going to vote for him, but he should know. And not only that, the world should see us pushing back. Because if we push back to the left for the same issue, but yet we don't push back against our own, we become hypocrites at that point.
Yeah. So there's Christians out there that aren't going to the poll at all then, and just because they don't like either side.
Primarily the abortion issue. But again, you got to look at the issue. You have to look at, if you're going to call yourself pro-life, you better care about all life.
That's true. Yeah, and that book is crazy. Oh, I mean, I talk about that book. I mean, 13,000 murderers, we got 19,000 rapists, and there's 425,000 criminals that we're tracking.
Exactly. I mean, again, with these Christians that are voting, they're getting into their feelings.
Yeah.
And you gotta put feelings aside because feelings will deceive you every time.
Yeah. That's for sure.
It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. Again, you know, like I wear a Trump hat, right? And I wear it primarily for conversation reasons, right?
Yeah.
So when people are like, well, why you want to vote for him? Well, now I get to go through his policies, right? I get to go through
There you go.
the border policies, and I get to go through the child utilization policies, right? So it's like, and not only that, what people don't realize, you're not only voting for Trump, you're voting for a whole cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Some of those people that he's going to bring on are going to be solid Christians that are going to have his ear.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So not only that, Trump, he could be swayed. That's why he went from, I would sign a 15-week ban to now a 6-week ban, because he could be swayed by the right people. Kamala Harris, she ain't going to be swayed.
She's got the elitists and all kinds of like people just working her strings working her like a puppet, man.
Yeah. Their stance is their stance. There's no change.
Yeah.
There's no changing them. So again, people got to realize you're not just voting for Trump and Vance. You're voting for everybody else that they're going to bring on with them.
Yeah. And speaking of the policies, I mean, Kamala really doesn't have any, really.
No. Her policies, brother, are Trump says I'm not going to tax tip. Guess what? I'm not going to tax no tip.
Yeah, it's like, it's Trump that she just, proxy, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, $5,000 tax credit for children. I'm going to do $6,000.
Yeah, she just ups it.
Let me tell you, bro, I'm not the smartest when it comes to policies and politics, but geez, if you can't read into that, I mean, there's some serious issues going on.
Yeah, there's certain, I mean, it's pretty blatant, because a lot of times you'll see people like these, street interviewers that go up to people and they'll say, yeah, interviewing them. Yeah, I'm voting for Kamala. Oh, really? Like, I'm talking about Charlie Kirk. He does this thing. He goes, well, why are you voting for Kamala? Like, what are some of the reasons? What are some of the policies? And no one can say anything. You know what they revert to? Oh, look, Trump's an idiot. That's what they just said.
Orange man bad. Orange man bad.
You know what I mean? So that's the policy.
Yeah, exactly.
So anything else? I mean, any other like parting words you could say for anybody?
I just would encourage, especially men, and it doesn't exclude women. I'm not excluding women, but especially men. Let's get out there. Let's lead by example. You know what? At the end of the day, God has a plan, right? What's going to happen to this nation is already planned out by God, right?
Absolutely.
And we're not, but it doesn't excuse us from doing what's right. And that's one thing that got me when I was with Luca. That verse, James 4:17, for them to know to do right and don't do it, to them it is sin. And is it right to speak for the unborn? Is it right to speak for the children in the school? Is it right to love your neighbor and vote for the best policies? Right? Not only is it right, it's biblical and it's commanded by God, right? And
amen.
That's really what got me kickstart. That put a conviction in me and says, okay, it's time for you to start getting involved. It's time for you to, again, not for political reasons. It's for what's right. It's standing for righteousness, right? Standing for truth. And so I would encourage, man, just get out there, man. Just lead by example. Show your kids. At the end of the day, when whatever happens in this country, I want to be able to look at my kids and my grandchildren and say, I try to do everything that I could do. That's what I want to be able to see.
That's awesome. And you know what? I think I'll end on that, man. That's a great place, great way to end it, man. So Art, hey, this is awesome combo, man. This was great.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, brother. I appreciate
Man.
it. Maybe we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do this again for sure. And you know what? When we mentioned Luca, I didn't even ask you about Luca at all. I forgot. I didn't get to that. But
Luca, I'm very appreciative for the opportunity because, there was a lot of first in it. I spoke at a school board meeting for the first time.
Okay.
Luca, I went to a Fontana City Council meeting to go talk, in oppose of a Planned Parenthood being built. Not only did I talk, but my daughter spoke for the first time ever.
Wow, that's awesome.
The experience of meeting candidates, I was the one who went and vetted the candidates. So there was so much that I learned, so much I'm appreciative. But, sometimes some things just don't work out. And, that's good. You know what? I text the founder and I gracefully told him, thank you for everything. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it,
Yeah.
I'm extremely thankful. And, this next chapter in my life, I can be honest, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm still doing what I'm doing. I'm still still doing things. As far as being part of another organization, that was where I've had some approaches from different people from big movements. So that may be in the working. It may be coming up here soon.
All right. Keep us posted, man.
Will do, brother. Most definitely.
Awesome. Hey, man, God bless you, man. Thank you for coming on, man. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no, appreciate you. Appreciate everything you do, brother. I love to see a man that's unapologetically doesn't care what anybody thinks and will post things and will share things. That's what we need. We have a platform and social media that we're able to get to people that we were never able to talk to in any other way, right? And to me, that is what I use social media for. And you do the same. And I'm very appreciative of that, brother.
You got it. Yeah, with all that being said, it's some great times we have right now. Especially with the way like you're just saying, we can get the word out, man. So
awesome. So, all right, brother. Well, thank you again, man.
All right. Thank you, brother, man. Take care, man.
All right, you too, brother.
All right, brother. Bye-bye.
Your journey to achievement doesn't stop here. Jump on a 10-minute strategy call with Eric Bonilla by DMing at Eric Bonilla Fitness. We'll see you next time on the Unconventional Podcast.